Wednesday morning in the city of Abeokuta, capital city of Ogun State. I'm in the studio this morning on BGI TV Current on the newspaper headlines Nigeria Today. It's a program which tells about every headlines on from the newsstand. As usual, my name is Morire Rebila Lawal and I'm with my colleague whose name is
Ige Olalekan by name. It's a pleasure. How was your night, Ravila?
I'm good, and you and how is the family doing at Nigeria Today?
We are doing great.
Also, right, let's go straight into the game and what we have for your viewing pleasure. All everyone watching us live with me this morning, I'm having this headline from Daily Post, which states that Nigeria 10 things you need to know this Wednesday morning. 4 killed as gunmen attack U.S. embassy officials. And also, 2 suspected smugglers remanded for attacking customs with charm. Facing war to become Senate president, that's coming from politics. Akpabio is speaking. And also, 3 feared dead as Governor Umai's convoy rams into moving motorcycle in Ebonyi. What have you this morning, Ige?
Thank you, Rabila. Well, from the Nation newspaper this morning, I have Kwakwanso meets Tinubu in France. Accept his government of national unity, and also constitutional review. NAS OK's independent candidacy, 50% waiver for women.
All right, from that side, I go straight to the next paper with me this morning, which is the Premium Times, and the first story is coming from Court grants Seun Kuti suspended bail. It means that he's been remanded, but the court has asked the Nigeria Police Force to go into investigation for 48 hours before releasing Seun Kuti. There's this thing I want to speak about, Ige.
Okay.
As regards the Kuti's family, everyone knows them from the matriarch, that's yes, from the mother, which is Funmilayo Kuti, the professors, Olukoye, then the late Afrobeat maestro himself, Fela Kuti. We all have this knowledge about the family as in upholding the rightful things. But this aggression of Seun Kuti, what is your take about it so far?
Well, like if I want to look at it from this perspective, actually I think it will sound as a lesson for others in the society. For the fact that you have the fame, you have everything, does not mean that you should misbehave. Like what he did was very wrong. Slapping an enforcement agent, it's wrong. So I think he at least, although nobody knows what transpired, but the truth of the matter is he should have calmed down and listened to what the officer asked him to do, not just to go ahead and with aggression and did what he did, which was very wrong.
Okay, that is Ige's take, and for me, I would rather talk like this, that most times when we see the Nigerian Police Force or any military or any law enforcement agents or personnel, the truth is that fine, there is this constitutional right that states that no human or no Nigerian should beat a policeman in uniform or army officer in uniform. But the question is, what about the abuses that yes, these security personnel have had in let me say in experience, which we have seen and watched, or even experienced live, seeing a live altercation between the Nigerian security operatives doing that to a civilian. I was saying civilians too do not have the right to defend themselves, or the right that speaks to these security personnel that yes, you shouldn't abuse anyone irrespective of your status in the uniform you're wearing.
Well, considering the fundamental human rights of everyone as a citizenry in a country,
yeah,
it is very important that as a police officer, you should also be conscious of what you are doing, the kind of punishment you want to melt on the citizens. And apart from that, the citizens also should also make sure that it is their own responsibility to make sure that they abide by the law of the land. I think what really happened, I don't know, but if you look at it, I think it happened along the highway. It should be
Third Milan Bridge.
Third Milan Bridge. So it could be that maybe the police officer observed that maybe Femi Kuti or his name Seun Kuti drive, against the traffic rule or something, although it is not the responsibility of the police officer to be in charge of what the Federal Road Safety Commission has to do. But the truth of the matter is, whatever happens, Seun Kuti does not have the right to slap a Nigerian police officer.
All right, that's the story of Seun Kuti. Is still remanded at the police station. He's not home yet because the police needs to do the investigation to know exactly what warranted Seun Kuti slapping a police officer in uniform and also on duty on the 3rd Mainland Bridge. We only saw the video from the aspect and the angle that yes, Seun Kuti was rough-handling and assaulting a police officer. No one can tell what exactly transpired before the shooting of that video because it was a driver or someone in the vehicle that captured the scene between Seun Kuti and the police officer. We didn't know or we don't know if there was something from the police officer that triggered that anger, that evil from Seun Kuti, which I believe everyone else could have that evil whenever you hear or listen to any bad thing that can make you just go wild. But I'm not supporting Seun Kuti or condemning his act, but I'll condemn his act because there is a constitutional right that states that no man should assault any security personnel. Leaving that story and coming back to it later, the next one is a Guardian newspaper which says May 29, Tinubu's inauguration, sacrosanct, says Afenifere as Ohaneze, the Soul's plan to participate. What to take about that, Ige?
Well, I think the Ohaneze Indigbo group, they are part of Nigeria, so they shouldn't be excluded from the inauguration. And at the same time, this government has been able to some extent, from my observation, it has been able to, extend a hand of friendship to every zone in the country. So, and I think maybe he has a vision to make it an inclusive government. So for us to have a better society and a better country, I think everybody should work hand in hand to make sure that we get to the
Let me read the first paragraph of the story from the Guardian. The story has it that the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, or Ohaneze Ndigbo, yesterday denied media report that it would participate fully in the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on May 29. In a statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the body, Dr. Alex Chiedozie Ogbonnea, it described media report credited to one Okechukwu Izeguzoro as false and misleading. They denying the fact that Okechukwu Izeguzoro's claim is false and misleading. Where were they before the publication of Izeguzoro's claim that yes, Igbos and the Ohaneze Ndigbo, which is the socio-cultural Apex Igbo group or organization as Ohaneze Ndigbo, would support the inauguration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Are you thinking or saying that from this caption or this paragraph that they do not want an inclusive government from Tinubu?
Thank you very much, Rabila. If you look at it from the first question we need to find out is the guy Izeguzoro, is it the media, is it the spokesman for the Ohaneze Ndigbo?
He's not.
If he's not, then maybe what he is saying is not the agenda of the Indigbo as a whole. Because, if you look at it, immediately after the election, there has been a lot of uproar, of issues. Why some parts of the country are like saying that, okay, we want the slot of this position, we want the slot of that position. And maybe things is not really going the way they expected. And that is why some of them have been able to come out to say that, okay, since this is the situation of things, we don't think we'll be part of this government and things like that. But one thing they need to remember is that we are still in the same country. So right. they have no choice than to cooperate and to be inclusive with the government.
All right, let's leave the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization and going to the Yoruba Path, which is Afenifere. It's saying that the Afenifere body as a whole is appreciating the fact that US and IGP Usman Alkali Baba is saying and warning anyone It means anyone wanting to disrupt the inauguration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me go with the story. Meanwhile, Apex Yoruba Social Political Organization, Afenifere, yesterday commended the Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, and the United States of America for warning all those that are planning to disrupt the planned inauguration of the president-elect come May 29. National Publicity Secretary of the group, Jare Ajayi, said the journey to the present democratic dispensation has been hectic, thus nothing should be done to truncate it. Afenifere recalled that since the conclusion of the presidential election on February 25th of this year and the declaration of Tinubu as the winner, reports have been rife for various efforts being made to prevent his inauguration, with some even advocating an interim government, which it said has been roundly condemned. What is your take concerning people yearning for interim government? One. Then number two, the commendation people have been yearning for Usman Alkali Baba, warning anyone against truncating the coming inauguration of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Thank you very much. If you look at it, let's look at it from this perspective. They used to say that in every rumor, there is an iota of truth.
Absolutely.
Which means that for Alkali Baba to have said that, to have given out the warning signal, it means Nigerian police force, they have their own intelligence department.
Sure.
They must have been able to gather a lot of information that might want to disrupt the inauguration on May 29th. And that is exactly why they are trying to put up a proactive measure to make sure that they are able to curtail whatever they want to rise up against the ceremony for that inauguration of the president. Then, if you look at it again, like the Afenifere commending the apex of Nigerian police force,
right,
is part of kind of trying to make sure that they do the right thing and they make sure that the security of the country is paramount.
Okay. What about the interim governments, which people have been yearning for?
Well, like some people have been clamoring for interim government and things like that, but they should remember, before this inauguration will come up, we've had election. And on the course of the election, INEC had announced who won the election. And now they are in the court at the tribunal,
yes,
to sort out a lot of lingering issues before the day. So automatically, I don't see the reason why people should still say that they want an interim government, because by saying that, it means that they are trying to disrupt the process either of the election or for the incoming government to take up the something.
Aside the interim governments, which people have been yearning for, and some are even saying that there's a constitutional right that states that the Senate president can easily be inaugurated, as the case is still in court as regards the results which brought in President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Aside that, there is this coming from the Nation that states that U.S. Secretary of State Blinken to Tinubu will strengthen partnership with Nigeria. The story is that the United States Bureau Chief, the United States Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken, has told President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the Joe Biden administration is committed to his incoming administration as president-elect in Nigeria. What is your take, and what's convincing U.S. for saying that yes, they are ready to partner with the incoming administration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Now let's look at it like, let me take you back a bit, like the case of interim government you mentioned the other time. For the Secretary of the State, United States, to have extend a hand of fellowship to the new president-elect, that they are ready to partner with him in progress and other things. It shows that there is a confirmation of the fact that the election that took place in Nigeria was a transparent one, was a confirmed one, was a valid one, which even the global actors also supported. They key into it, and that is why people like the United States of America can extend hands of fellowship to the incoming government in Nigeria. And as a result of that, Nigerians should be smile, should be in mode of celebration, because it shows that American will want to partner with us to make sure that at least in every area that will be in need of one or two things in terms of our economy and other sectors of the economy, there will be a kind of a partnership for the development of the country.
All right, as it is right now, we need to go on a 2-minute break, and exactly when it is 8:30, we will be right back. Stay tuned. It's still BGI TV Current on Headlines Today. Welcome back from the short break. It's still the newspaper today from BGI TV Current. As regards everything coming from the newspaper stand, we're bringing it to you live and clear. As regards, if you're just joining, I'd like to tell you, you're not missing out. The only thing you're missing out is for you to go back and rewatch from the beginning how interesting it has been. We started from the Seun Kuti's case, how he was granted bail but still within the police net, and also we brought about the inauguration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the partnership from the U.S. seized by Blinken, assuring President-elect Bola Tinubu for a strong partnership for his incoming administration, and also that of Kwankwaso's closed-door meeting with President-elect right there in France. And we are talking about a hit one, which is coming from the Constitutional Review. Let's have a take from you, Ige.
Well, you are welcome back, our viewers. Now, if you look at the case of Kwankwaso, Kwankwaso is is a well-known person in Nigerian political scene.
All right.
And we know when he was the governor of Kano State, he did a lot. Now, during the course of the election, if you can still recall, you discover that he came on board on the party of New Nigerian People's Party.
Okay.
And we saw the way he also, he made an impact in the election. Now, for Kwankwaso to have traveled down to France, of which they had a meeting with the president-elect, I believe that if they can synergize and come together to work to, I believe a fruitful product will come out of it.
Definitely.
It will come out of it, and it's going to contribute to the development of politics in Nigeria.
All right. I want to support your facts and intrigues on that, because fresh facts emerged on Tuesday as to why the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu met separately with former governor Rabiu Kwankwaso and former emir of Kano Muhammadu Sanusi II in Paris on Monday. The information states that our credible source to report is that the tripartite meeting in Paris is beside one between Tinubu and Kwankwaso. Another one was held between the president-elect and Sanusi, and then another one between Kwankwaso and the former emir. The three separate meetings were meant to strengthen ties. The president-elect seriously needs the support of the two leading personalities from Kano, one of the sources said. Do not forget that the outgoing governor of Kano State used to be or was the deputy to Kwankwaso, but the two of them have gone two different pathways. So now for the president-elect or for Kwankwaso to have traveled far to France to meeting with the president-elect, there is something sweet coming for Nigeria. There is something beautifully coming for Nigerians, and there is something emphatic coming for the incoming administration. Do not forget, Kwankwaso was Kano State governor twice, and during his time as a governor, he visited Lagos countless times for some better things which he did in Kano State, and people of Kano are enjoying it. So right now, for the reason the meeting held, I want to believe there are two things involved. The relationship between the former senators, because they used to be in the parliament together as senators,
Exactly.
Tinubu and Kwankwaso, And I want to believe the former emir, who is a technocrat, who knows economy very well, as evident in how he handled the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Exactly.
These are the two things I'm thinking. Why the meeting was held, and I believe Nigerians would enjoy the fruits of this meeting. And there is reason again for the former Lagos State governor, who told Kwankwaso to reach out to his political associate on the need to work together. If Kwankwaso is not a big mate, if he's not a big politician, if he's not a good politician that has this charisma, these characteristics of a good leader, such meeting wouldn't have happened in France. But to cap it all, there's a story that says that if Kwankwaso had remained in PDP, not creating NNPP, his votes would have been for Atiku Abubakar. But my question to you now, Ige, is that how through will this have happened if he had remained with PDP? And are you saying, or going with people, that if Kwankwaso had remained in PDP, are you saying Kwankwaso will bow for Atiku to be the party's aspirant for presidential election?
You know, when you look at it from that angle, we must not forget that Kwankwaso himself had intention to go for Nigerian presidency.
Exactly.
Atiku also had the same thing.
Exactly.
So, and that is the same thing is also applicable to Obi, because if you don't forget, Obi was once also in PDP before he left for Labour Party.
Yeah.
So, but what would have happened is, you know, we have three gladiators who are eyeing the same positions. So, when you look at it from that angle, there is no way Kwankwaso would have bowed for Atiku. But I believe that, you know, if you want to look at their strengths, if you want to look at it from the angle of SWOT analysis, you look at their strengths, you look at how popular, to what extent can people, you know, believe in the vision of Kwankwaso. But he has proven that in Kano on the course of this election, because if you look at the whopping number he had
in Kano State,
as in the vote cast,
which happens to be a stronghold home of APC.
Exactly. So if you look at it from that perspective, you'll see that to some extent Kwankwaso himself is a grassroots man.
Exactly.
Then if you look at Atiku also, you know, but like what you said, if the three of them had agreed
to be in the same camp,
to be in the same camp and bring up just a candidate from among them, automatically maybe the ticket wouldn't have gone to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Maybe would have had one of them as a president today.
All right. Aside that tussle and the meeting of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kwankwaso and former governor of Central Bank, which also is a former emir of Kano State, and I want us to delve into this lingering one again. The outgoing governor of Kano State was a deputy to Kwankwaso, and now his name is Abdullahi Ganduje, who used to be a deputy to Kwankwaso. But the two of them are on separate paths right now. And in conclusive, let me say that former emir, removed by the same Umaru Abdullahi Ganduje, attended the meeting with President-elect. What do you think could be the fate of Umaru Abdullahi Ganduje, the outgoing governor of Kano State, after leaving the office as a governor?
Well, to me, I would say I don't see much issues. But at the same time, there are a lot of lingering issues that need to be resolved.
Okay.
And I believe that it will now be, the onions would be on the president-elect. Because if you look at it, on the course of going around for campaigning before the election,
yes,
Ganduje played a major role. You know,
for Kano State to remain as APC state.
No, even for the president-elect, you know, he was very close to the president-elect.
Absolutely.
So he played a major role. So what I feel is, you know, it now depends on how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu elects. will handle the issues, because you need to resolve a lot of, because if you look at it, you discover that Ganduje has stepped on toes. He did a lot of things. A lot. You know, the emir was removed. The emir, the kingdom was divided into almost 4 or 5. Even more than. Then, you know, we also have some other issues and things like that. But now that he's about to leave office, you know, a lot of things has to be done to bring back, to bring back the unity. And I think Sanusi Lamido, who is a magnanimous person that wants to just, you know, take it the way it comes, you know, accept his fate. But I believe that president-elect, we have to come in that area.
All right. Let's leave that president-elect Iju Konkoso and former emir of Kanu and also former governor of Central Bank, who is Sanusi II. Now we're going far away to Anambra State. Gunmen killed 2 U.S. consulate staff, 2 policemen. What do you take from the story, Ike?
Well, this story is so scary. Scary in the sense that, you know, these are part of the reason why investors are not coming into the country. So we need to, you know, work more on our security. In Nigeria, you know, when things like this happens, what do we feel the outside, the people, you know, in the global scene, their perspective towards Nigeria will be on the negative, you know? Like this one is bringing us, you know, into is giving us a bad reputation, you know, understand, on the global scene. So Nigerian police force, Nigerian army, they need to work more on the security of the country. Most especially, you know, even among us, we have the aliens that are working in our country, the expatriates. They need to give them more protections. Likewise, the citizen of this country.
Because it's so barbaric and it's just like a malady. The hoodlums murdered 2 of the police mobile force operatives and 2 staff members of the consulate and set their bodies ablaze alongside their vehicle.
Can you imagine that?
What could have come up? What could have been the reason of this incarceration? What could have led to this? No matter what is happening within our country, we should understand the fact that we should not be fighting ourselves for the enemies not to penetrate. And mind you, the people killed were on a mission, not ordinary mission. That the convoy of embassy officials who were on a humanitarian mission in the state came under fire while they were passing through the area.
Wow.
Your governors are not doing the needful. Your politicians are not doing the needful, which we all know in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And these people came all the way from their countries to Nigeria. This precisely is from the United States Embassy in Nigeria. I've not heard it before. This will be the very, very first time. Even if your town is volatile and you're having some vulnerables to have this heat from, it should be your politicians. Exactly. They are your people, not foreigners. This is a stain and a Black Tuesday at is it Anambra State or Anambra? Yes, because it's so barbaric, and the only people I am thinking of, it's either we call them unknown gunmen. Who are the unknown gunmen? Nigeria keeps remaining a dramatical scene to the international war.
Quite unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But Morire, I saw one of the airlines there, which I think is more interesting. It said, Constitution Review, NAS OK's independent candidate. If you don't forget, let's recall what happened in France the other time. You know, Nigerian youth has been clamoring for independent candidates, whereby they can just come up with their own candidate that will run for the position of the presidency and things like that. But there was a resolution at the National Assembly of recent, of which the Senate, they approved the constitution, and there was an altercation on the bill of number 46 and 58, of which they now said that, okay, anybody that wants to contest for the position of the president, of which is coming up from the independent candidate, must have gathered some votes across the country. Like what happened to, if you can recall, the case of Emmanuel Macron in France, the current president of France. You know, he left his former political party and he came up as an independent candidate, and people
join hands,
mobilized with him, and before you know it, it was in the presidency.
Yes.
So what do you see to that?
And the truth about it is, with the review of the Constitution, or out of the review of the Constitution, there's this truth I like us to talk about, which I believe the leaders, they themselves, knows about it. Are they reviewing the Constitution to better Nigeria? Are they reviewing the Constitution to stop the looting? Are they reviewing the Constitution to making sure they are doing everything necessary, everything that ought to be provided to their constituency as expected, not only after 4 years in office when they are aspiring for re-election? Are they reviewing this Constitution to better our security of lives and property? Are they reviewing this Constitution to making sure we have these good schools? Are they reviewing this Constitution to better our universities than approving other universities? Are they reviewing this Constitution to better the lives of the subjects under this administration? Are they reviewing this Constitution to better the fuel subsidy? What is the fuel subsidy? If Nigerians can be dying, lacking the good health status which we need to see and have access to, and you are taking 16 billion trillions on fuel subsidy, and we are buying fuel per liter at the rate we are buying it right now, are they reviewing this Constitution for you to work freely from midnight till morning and nobody will shoot you aside? Are they reviewing this Constitution to pay the Nigerian police force officers a better salary? Are they reviewing this Constitution to making sure that the Nigerian custom remains at the border ends, not within the metropolis, disturbing the residents? Are they reviewing this Constitution to better the lives and arms and ammunition given to the Nigerian army to facing Boko Haram and insurgency? Are they reviewing this Constitution to create and build modern custodial centers across the Federation?
Moriri, I think those questions that you have pulled up will be a capital response. We need a capital response from our leaders.
Exactly.
And just to add to what you said, I am also looking at it from this angle that, this issue of independent candidate, don't you think there is no ulterior motive for them to have gone to this length to say, okay, we want to give an approval to so thing and things like that? Because I look at it that, do you think they want to allow this thing to be implemented, to break the chain, for other Nigerians to come in?
Okay. The answer for me and my own opinion is that it's all fallacy. In the sense that since your graduation from NYC till date, who are those in government? Those years until date.
We have the same people.
Remember, Buhari signed the bill, not too young to rule. How many of them are younger? Remember, in the days of the military era, some were 31 years old. Some were 29 and they were head of state. Are you telling me those that were of those age brackets that remove the uniform as military head of state, are they not the same in the kaftan that we're having today?
You're right, Moriri. I think those would be a food for thought.
Absolutely.
For our leaders.
And if they say they also approve that its presiding officers would henceforth be members of the national security country. Now, these resolutions of the Senate followed approval of Constitution Alteration Bills number 46 and 58 by the number states required to make them part of the Constitution. Now, my question is this. We have 36 states in Nigeria. FCT is the 37th.
Exactly.
As the Federal Capital Territory. How many of the governors knows the boundaries of their states to another? How many of the governors knows how their local governments individually exist and survive? How many of the local governments are the ones, the chairman, the deputy chairman, or the vice chairman, or the secretary, or whoever is in charge of the local government? How many of those infrastructures still remains as formidable as they used to be?
Those are all questions that our leaders need to attend to.
Are they even listening to it again? If truly they are listening to it, how many of them can go to their local government without security personnel?
I don't think there is any. I don't think there is any.
So, as far as I'm concerned, like the Yoruba would say, "Irong barofuro ekembeke soro." If truly we want a change in Nigeria, we have few ones that are good-minded.
Exactly.
Number one, these interim government yearnings over there, yearnings over here, they are only murmuring for their pockets and their own smiles. They want to jeopardize a free and fair election, just like they did in 1993. Those that nullified and clarified that election as null and void, some are regretting in the grave, and some are still alive, regretting wherever they are right now. And that is why many of those that truncated the forced democracy birth in Nigeria choose to accept the candidacy of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And those who do not want democracy to have a new breath in Nigeria, which history is repeating itself. Let's calculate 1993 to 2023. It's significant in the history of Nigeria and democracy in Nigeria. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu was announced by INEC, I see no constitutional rights that can say no to his candidacy as president-elect, except if the Election Petition Tribunal can figure out something significant, convincing, not by violence. If other political parties can accept the congratulatory message from President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what stopped Atiku and Peter Obi from accepting their fate? Let's ask the obedience. I'm not against them, but my question is this: when Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State, of what importance was his administration? Of what relevance was his administration? When Atiku Abubakar was the second man in Nigeria, of what importance was his living, was his existence? Even from the state he claimed he comes from, Adamawa State, of what relevance is his presence in the state? Don't forget, he owns a university and other businesses internationally and stuff like that. All of the investments in outside country, precisely Dubai, Malaysia, you are encouraging, you are building another country's economy, while yours is lingering, begging for hope to survive. And you are expecting Nigerians to believe in you once again. When he was the vice president, what did he do to Nigerian ports?
You know, when you continue, you discover that there are lots of questions that are begging for answers.
That's it.
And one thing I want us to also have in mind is, you know, those three candidates, in one way or the others, there have been a lot of issues that has to do with them in terms of accusations, allegations, and the rest of it like that. But I think the best thing that we need right now is we need a leader that will think Nigeria, that will do Nigeria, that will make Nigeria a better place.
Absolutely.
For us all to live in. So that's what we need in this country.
Absolutely. And do not forget, you're watching the newspaper headlines today on BGI TV Current. We have little time to leave the studio right now. In case you're just joining, you're not on the wrong channel. Every morning show is what we do, talking about every newspaper's headlines from the newspaper stands in Nigeria today. I'm telling you, it's been a wonderful time so far since 8 a.m. till this moment as we're having it. And I like to tell you that those that are just joining or those that have joined from beginning till now, kindly drop your comments concerning what we've treated today. Expecting an explosive outing tomorrow. And the handles for you to join on YouTube is BGI TV Current, which you need to subscribe. Click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. Apart from the newspaper headlines today, which we're doing, our news in English will surely be on this very channel, and subsequent programs coming up shortly for your viewing pleasure. And on Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo, and also for advert placement of your goods and services, because we need your advertisement as a promotional offer to the program we're doing, which we simply call it as ads on the program. I tell you, a trial will convince you. kindly dial the phone number streaming on your screen while you watch us live in the studio. From your side again, what's your take before we leave the studio?
Well, my take is that as the inauguration day is fast approaching, Nigerians, let us keep watch and let's pray for this country. I believe Nigeria will be great once again.
And your name?
My name is Igi Olalikon.
Alright, before I say out my name, which you already know, I like to ask this question, which I will need your answer on the comment section. My question is, as Buhari is about leaving office, why is the money, some cash, being given to him as damages? What has damaged in his cabinet, if not the lives of the meaningful Nigerians that have been killed since his emergence as Nigerian president? I'm not condemning Buhari, but at least he still have little time to redeem his faith as a human, because there is nothing we do that will not count against us, either for or against. I still remain your regular host with my colleague regularly on the show. My name is Morire Rebila Lawal. Have a wonderful time.